Hello and welcome back to another episode of Bedtime Stories. My name is Tracy and I am your host. We are reading I, the Wizard by Daniel McKnight. You can find this book on Kindle Unlimited, and it is written by a friend of mine, and I have verbal permission to read his book on the internet, and should I need to get it, I will obtain written permission from him as well. We are on part 1, chapter 4. Part 1 is entitled A Death in the Village. And before I get started, I need to ask you a series of very serious queries. Did you go pee in the potty yet? Have you brushed your teeth? Do you have your water next to the bed? I have my water right here. My trusty old Stanley cup that I bought on Facebook Marketplace of all places. I got it for $20. This particular cup, I'm told, goes for like $70. I don't know. I have no idea. And it keeps my water pretty darn cold. It does pretty good job. And have you done your stretches? I have stretched my mind tonight. I had an improv performance. We played many games, and we had lots of fun. And it was fantastic. And then I came home in the middle of the show during intermission because I could go no further. I had a very hard day at my muggle job. And I'm fairly tuckered. True facts. Anyway, so we're on chapter 4. I'm very thrilled with you that you have taken care of all of the things that, like, for getting ready for bed, brushing your teeth and going pee in the potty and getting your water and doing your stretches and all that good stuff. I'm very impressed. Good job. Maybe if I ask you guys enough times, if you've done all these things, maybe I will remember to do all these things at some point before I start reading the story to you. Today is not that day, but maybe someday. Anyway, chapter 4 of part 1 of I, the Wizard. We shall begin. I walked out of the sheriff's office, down the hard-packed road, and toward the Anon village's house of worship. I felt a little strange. But the church and wizards had come to a truce a long time ago, although they still don't entirely trust each other. I guess they figured out the wizards were not doing the work of the evil one, and magic was just another one of God's creations. Wizards came to the conclusion that the church did indeed help a lot of people. In every village, the church itself is always the biggest and the most substantial building in town. A few rich landowners or lords might have big chapels in the country, but not in the town proper. The church was a source of inspiration to all the people. In a way, it made them feel grand and gave them a sense of hope. The church building was made from roughly hewn brown stone that made its way upward to a tall wooden steeple. I opened the heavy oak door and let myself in. The only decorations inside, besides what was on the altar, were the large stained glass windows depicting Good's various battles with evil. Inside it was dark. The only light streamed in through the windows that seemed to encase the interior. The multitude of colors streaming from the glass gave the church a definite otherworldly, if not divine, quality. I saw the priest sitting in a pew in front of the altar. I quietly walked down the aisle and sat beside him. He looked at me with a raised eyebrow and asked in a hushed voice, Have you come here to convert, my son? Keeping my own voice low, I responded, Not quite. I came to talk to you about Rhaenyra. Am I saying his name completely wrong? Dan, please advise in the comments below. Thank you. Yes, I should have known. Would you mind if we stepped outside? I don't think this is a conversation that should be had in here. I don't mind, I said. Splendid. If you could give me a moment alone, I'll meet you out front. A few minutes later, he came out the door. He was shorter than I thought, and had close-cropped brown hair. He was stocky, and had a nose that had obviously been broken more than once. For a priest, he was not what I expected. He wore the traditional black robes with the hood pushed back. For the first time I was struck by how closely wizards and priests resembled each other. My name is Father Alders, and you are? Boaz. You can call me Bo. Very well, Bo. What can I do for you? What can you tell me about what happened to Rhaenyra? How was he murdered? Terrible business that, he answered, shaking his head. I don't know much about the murder, but I do know that he didn't deserve to die like that. He was a good man. Who found him? He had a girlfriend. She went out to visit him at his camp while he was fishing. What can you tell me about the murder? It was a single stab wound, just one, a little below the ribs. I think it was angled up and hit the heart. What kind of knife? Could you tell? Not really, but the hole was rather small, and it was round, almost like a dueling sword, perhaps some sort of pick. Any bruises or scrapes or anything unusual? I pressed. Not that I saw, and I was there during the cleaning of the body. Then again, I wasn't looking for anything either. Why was he cleaned if he was cremated? It's a tradition here. Those who are deemed good are cleaned and wrapped in a pure white cloth. After the cremation, the ashes are sprinkled over the fields. The belief is that some of the person's goodness will be absorbed by the crops, and then to those that feed on them. It is hoped that the living will carry on the good of the dead. What about the ones I think aren't good? I asked. Those bodies are left untouched, unclean, and are taken to the top of that hill, he said, pointing to a large prominence south of the village. There they are left for the crows. What kind of people are they? There are murderers, of course. But there are also those that prey upon those who can't defend themselves. You know, the sick, the elderly, and infirm. Are there many? No, only about one every 10 years or so. Did Ray have any enemies? Not that I am aware of. He was generally well liked. There are always disagreements, but nothing worth killing over. What about you? Me? We got along just fine. Every so often we would see each other at the inn, have a pint or two. We even played cards on occasion. He was much better than I am, and he would, I am sure, lose intentionally. He used to call it his donation to the church. Can you tell me anything else? I'm afraid not. We didn't exactly move in the same circles. I guess not. Thank you, Father. Any time. My door is always open. I got from the priest pretty much what I had expected. Not much. But he did seem a friendly sort. I figured if I needed anything, I could count on him. And that's the end of chapter 4. And it's only 7 minutes, right at almost 8. And I'm sure I yammered for at least 2 of that. So we're going to read another chapter. Chapter 5. My next stop was the inn, Hannon's. Whatever. Hannons. Apostrophe S. Whatever. Not only was I hungry, but if anybody knows what's going on in a village, it's a barkeep. Once I let myself in through the broad wooden door, I could see that it was better than most inns I'd been to. It was large and roomy, without an overabundance of tables. The bar ran the length of the back wall, and there was a staircase on the right side leading to the rooms upstairs. The wooden walls were covered with the trophies, preserved heads of long-ago hunts. Another wall near the stairs was covered with antlers. The large windows in the front were open, letting in an afternoon breeze that helped remove last night's odors. In the middle of the room was a circular fireplace that was now clean and cold, but was probably good in the winter for warming the feet of the patrons who had to walk here. I pulled up a stool, sat down, and propped my staff against the bar. The innkeeper came over and asked, "What are you going to have?" "How's your ale?" "Finest in town." "Is that because you were the only inn around?" With a wide smile, he offered, "At least you know I ain't lying." "Okay, sure," I said with a smile. "I'll have a tankard. You have any hot food?" "Not till the missus cooks something, but there might be some cold mutton and bread in back." "That sounds good. I'll have some cheese, too, if there is any." "I can fix you up, 'cept I can't afford wizard charity." "Nothing doing to me," I said, reaching into my money purse and flipping a gold coin onto the bar top. The innkeeper's eyes grew wide. "I ain't got no change for the likes of that." "That's okay. I'm going to be here for a few days. You keep it, and whenever I come in. You just take whatever I get out of that. Anything left over when I leave, you can keep. I like the way you do business, mister, he said, as he scooped the coin up from the bar top. He hurried into the back and returned a moment later with a plate full of food and the same semi-toothless smile he'd had on since I came in. Did you know Ramirez? I asked, popping a piece of bread into my mouth. Sure did. I hope they catch the guy that did that to him. Can you think of anybody you might want to see him dead? This is a small village. Somebody wants to kill somebody else almost every single day, but it never comes to that. Usually they have a few pints together and it's forgotten. I grabbed a piece of cheese and continued. You get into any fights recently? Nah. Then thinking a bit, he added, well, there was that fight with Skeet. What was that about? They were playing cards and Ray was winning big. Skeet accused Ray of cheating. I thought they were going to kill each other right then and there. Why would Skeet think Ray was cheating? Oh, Ray would come in pretty often and play, he said as he leaned over the bar. He was good, real good. He liked to come in, drink, talk, and play. But I think he liked the company more than he liked winning. I stood behind him once and saw him throw away winning hand after winning hand. I guess he knew that if he always took people's money, they would stop playing and leave. What was different that night? I don't know what was wrong with Ray, but he was in some kind of mood. Came in with a chip on his shoulder, biggest creation. He got a flagon of wine and then went right to the table, never even tried to pass the time. Then what? He proceeded to take all of everybody's money. Skeet lost big. He even went home once and got more money, but Ray won all that too. Skeet always likes to make like he's some kind of gamester, but he ain't. Guess he was mad that Ray showed him up. What happened then? Well, I thought they were going to have to go at it. They both stood glaring at each other. I thought fists were going to fly. I got in between them and got Ray to calm down. The others in here talked sense into Skeet. Ray stormed out soon after, and Skeet just sat there and got drunk. He didn't have no more money, so he couldn't play no more. Ray cleaned him out, so I let him drink on credit. Next time they saw each other, it was like nothing happened. Like I said, it all gets forgotten. When does Skeet usually come in? Every night about 9. You going to need a place to sleep? He asked, changing the subject. I put the last piece of bread into my mouth and finished the ale. No, I'm going to go to Ray's cottage. I kind of figured he wouldn't mind. Maybe he wouldn't, but Vivian might. Who's Vivian? You didn't know? They had been living together for about 8 months. She's the one who found Ray that night. A local girl? Nah, she was a gatherer. Used to read fortunes at their camp. Gatherers were a seedy lot. Oh, criminy. Crafty, too. They moved about in caravans, and wherever they went, trouble usually followed. Mostly it was missing livestock, maidens' virtues, and the like, but nothing too bad. They announce their presence when the authorities are in another town. By the time the law gets back, the gatherers are usually packed up and gone. I don't know why I'm reading that with such a thick accent. I'm just real tired, and I guess my Appalachian's coming out. And that's nurture, not nature, which makes it even funnier. Now there is someone you want to talk to, the innkeeper said. Vivian? Nah, the head man of their little clan. Why is that? Well, he was none too happy about Viv leaving to go with Ray. You know they stick to themselves mostly. Ray and Viv came in one night and they were having a quiet drink at the bar when that leader of theirs comes busting in, yelling and shouting. He went straight for Ray. Well, Ray just turned, stood up, lifted his hand into the air, and it was like that guy ran into a brick wall. Stopped him cold. Knocked him back a couple feet, too. Came at him again, and Ray just did the same thing, except this time he kept hitting him with the spell until that guy fell out of the front door. Ray sat back down with Viv, and that guy comes bursting in again, but this time he stays way back. Starts yelling at Viv, saying how she was disowned, and she weren't no gatherer, or a daughter of his no more. Then he turns and stomps out. What happened next, I asked. Well, Viv started bawling. Ray tried, but couldn't calm her down. She wouldn't have none of it, so they left. Those gatherers been back since? No, at least not that I heard. Okay, thanks, I said as I grabbed my staff and stood up. I'll be back tomorrow night to play some cards. Don't tell Skeet about me. As a matter of fact, keep our little talk to yourself. Yeah, I can do that. What's your name, anyway? Boaz. But you can call me Bo. Nice meeting you, Bo. You can call me Yurt. Y-E-R-T. Yurt. I touched the brim of my hat and walked out the door. And that's the end of chapter 5. Well, this is fun. I'm real tired, as you can tell by the accent coming out more and more and more. So, good night, sleep tight, don't let the bedbugs bite, and if they do, please, for the love of Christ, bite them back. I love you. Have good dreams. Good night.